Greetings, nerds. So, Schmincke released an updated line for their acrylic paint. Their old stuff was an 8.5 out of 10. Solid buy for me. Very good paint. Came in second place to Golden. Golden scored roughly around an 8.8 to 9, depending on pigment. But overall, these were very good. Solid second place. Definite buy if you're in Europe. They're the Golden of Europe. But how did they change the paints? Are they just as good? Short answer, yes, they're just as good as before. However, things have changed for the negative and for the positive, depending on your point of perspective. So, one thing that did change is that they do not retain brushstrokes as easily as before. This stuff retained brushstrokes fairly easily. It had a minor self-leveling thing to it, minor, ever so slight, but you would still see brushstrokes. These just flat out self-level. I don't see brushstrokes on them. So if you're a canvas painter, that can be a huge negative if you're looking for brushstrokes. Keep in mind, this is the brush I'm using for testing. This is a sable hair brush. So I'm not going to see as deep brushstrokes as I would with a, a hog or something like that. But I am going to be seeing some level of brushstroke. These I saw next to none with. Which, for a miniature painter, which this channel is kind of aimed more towards miniature painters, after all, less towards canvas, but we do cover canvas here, especially in reviews. That's a huge boon. So, once again, perspective, whether or not that's better or not. To me, that is better. To other people, especially for canvas painters, that is not better, that's worse. Whether or not you like that, up to you. But it is an important change that we do have to discuss. That's a night and day difference between binders. Their marketing is a little bit weird. They say innovative binder with reduced CO2. Once again, we need laboratory testing for that. We need to see actual data, whether or not the CO2 reduction is noticeably less. No animal ingredients. That's kind of a flat out lie. They have ivory black, which contains animal bone. So they are still using animal products. They have to get rid of ivory black for that claim to be factually correct on everything. Unless that one tube doesn't have no animal ingredients. Then that would be something else. They're still using the same isolindolinone family binder, or not binder, biocide. So allergic reactions can occur without microplastics. Once again, you need a lab for that. Acrylic paints were never a huge contributor to microplastics as far as I know. And most of them don't contain much in terms of microplastic. I've never been super clear on that, to be fair. The information is a little bit spotty, but mostly marketing from what I know. The color line did change quite a lot. They still have my favorite cobalt green, this neutral gray, which I have learned to absolutely adore. Video on that soon. Soon, trademark. They still have the brown iron oxide, which I love. I like this more than burnt umber a lot of the time, especially for doing the other work. They don't have the bismuth yellow deep anymore, which I absolutely adored. They got rid of a couple things that had extinct pigments in them. I believe they got rid of the Viridian. I'm looking through their color list right now. Yeah, they got rid of Viridian. They have manganese violet now. They have a couple other things. I believe they have they replaced the bismuth vanadate. Yeah, they replaced the bismuth vanadate with titanium gold yellow, which I have as their fluid acrylic. And that's PY216. It's a good replacement for the bismuth yellow deep. They're very similar in terms of color. Open them up. The bismuth yellow, I do think, is a better pigment. Overall, it's more opaque. It's just much better, but it's also way more expensive. So it makes sense why they would get rid of it, especially for a color that will probably not be as well valued. And it's just to complete the color spectrum range. So, makes perfect sense. Overall, the change between them is minor. The smell has definitely changed 100%. These have a faint clovish honey smell. These smell like PVA glue and honey. There isn't too much different with them in pigmentation. Pigmentation seems just about the same. So, overall, not bad. They're going to retain the same score of 8.5 out of 10. The caps are way better. The cobalts would dry out quite frequently. And, you know, terrible, terrible caps. New caps are great. They're better for my arthritis as well. So these are a little bit hard to open for me. These are fantastic to open. I can open up with one hand, even, which is huge. Because, once again, arthritis. So that does kind of, that would increase the score, but that's such a minor change to me that 8.6 would be the highest, but I want to give them that. They don't deserve it because the cap change shouldn't increase the score. It did decrease it because these caps were so bad, but yeah. Yeah, let's give them 8.6 out of 10. Let's be fair. Because the tubes are better. The paint is better. The viscosity changed ever so slightly. And I mean very slightly. These are a little bit moister, I want to say. Let's just show off a comparison here. Real quick. So, these are heavy bodied. Here. Drying time did change a little bit as well. Not much. This is something I did notice was the drying time was a little bit worse on the new stuff. It dried out a little bit quicker. So, but viscosity is about the same, especially when you add water to it, like I just did by accident. Yeah. Either way, it's a good paint. Go buy it, especially if you're in Europe. If you're in the US, stick with golden. They'll be about the same unless they have a color that's really important to you that's different than golden. Uh, Stick with golden if you're in the US. Price is going to be better. Price performance. If you're in Europe, go with Primacryl. It's roughly about the same as golden. It's the golden of Europe. Buy or something.